Perceptions of Manurewa have always been bad, but they've always been wrong. You really need to come into the community to see it and believe it yourself. Hey, Manurewa is full of characters, 100% characters. I mean, I have travelled to a lot of places and been to a lot of communities in Aotearoa, but also in Auckland, and there is nothing like the people here. I find myself constantly explaining to people what local boards do and what I do, which is fine because it's not common knowledge. If you don't have an understanding, why would you participate in something that you don't know or understand? The local board is responsible for whether or not your grass is cut this high or this high, whether or not there's potholes on the road or not potholes, whether or not the pedestrian crossing has lights or no lights, whether your bins are taken fortnightly or taken weekly. You're impacted by everything that happens in your local level. So that's why I really emphasize to people, yes, central government, the general elections is important, but in actual fact, you're more impacted by the decisions your local board's making on a daily basis. What's really cool is that my campaign team is actually made up of 16, 17 and 18-year-olds with a lot of my collateral and my proofreading. I run it through this Facebook group, like I said, which is made up of these young people to get their approval.
Over time, my love for, not my love for politics, but my love for my community grew over time. And one way to help my community was through politics, was through campaigning, was to make sure that our local board was a good representation of its people.
The local board has had many initiatives, but I'll use the Manurewa Youth Council as an example with their funding towards us. We've helped connect young people across our community, as well as sort of help them grow as leaders of our community to then go on and do greater things in the future.
Local government has never been something that's been appealing to young people, but as of recently there's been such a big political movement and people have been getting more politically engaged, and that's seen in more people showing up to stuff like School Strike for Climate and stuff like protests, peaceful protests down at Iwimata, and now with more people standing for public office nationally. And what that means for local government is that there are a lot more people that reflect communities well, have an opportunity to represent those communities well.
Our community is about to hit 95,000 in terms of population size, and about 45% of that is people under the age of 30. So that's quite a really large demographic of people that are really young, and so therefore it just makes sense that there is a young voice, a young person who has lived and breathed this community. I went to all of the local schools, I still work here, I still live here. That there is a local person in that space where the decisions are being made for this community.
You want to hear something cool about this medal? The youngest person to get this medal was actually your age. Yeah, crazy, right?
When I was younger, I wasn't necessarily engaged in what was going on a local level in terms of issues. In fact, I wasn't involved in politics until end of high school.
Anyone can get this. You don't have to be a politician like me. You don't need to be an old person. You don't need to be 23 like me. You don't need to do really flash and important things. All you need to do is make sure that you're being the best version of yourself and doing the right thing.
Back in 2016, when I ran with the ticket, I was hoping that because I was the youngest running for the Manurewa Local Board, that would inspire and encourage our voter turnout, in particular our young voter turnout, to rise. In this case, it did not, which was quite disappointing. What I'm hoping this time round, now that I'm an independent running in the elections, is that that it does increase quite significantly. I've done a lot of work over these last 3 years to engage our young people in what I do on a local level, what the local board does, and I just really hope that transfers and is reflective in our voter turnout. Even if it's not votes for me, I just hope it's reflective in our voter turnout. Yeah.